Welcome to the most political video I've ever made here on the channel. It's gonna be a pretty serious one. Now usually I try to stay away from anything which has to do with politics, just because this channel is about Minecraft and all we talk about here is plugins and mods and servers and just in general having fun. But when something political starts to actively target the Minecraft community, we really don't have any other choice than to at least talk about it and cover it. So let me tell you what happened to Modrinth. For those who don't know, Modrinth is of course one of the biggest Minecraft resource distribution websites out there. You can go to their website if you want to download mods and plugins and resource packs and shader packs and so on. But what happened to them, as of recording this video yesterday, is actually kinda crazy. They got an email from the Russian government where they were asked to actively censor content on their platform. Yeah, that was not on my 2025 bingo list. So essentially, the Russian government sent Modrinth an email. And in that email, the Russian government asked Modrinth to take down 4 specific LGBTQ+ projects on the platform. And if they wouldn't get blocked for Russian users, Russia would block the entirety of the Modrinth platform for any Russian user. Now, I can only imagine what a stressful situation it must have been for the Modrinth team to actually receive an email from the Russian government demanding you to essentially censor your platform. Like, I can only imagine they were in a constant state of panic, just not really knowing what to do and what the right move was to make. And according to Modrinth themselves, they also only had a single day to make a decision whether they would censor the content or not. So they discussed it in their team for a few hours and eventually they decided to make the following decision. Before I'm gonna show you the decision, I want to make very clear that this decision has since been revoked. This is no longer the stance of Modrinth. I'm just gonna show you this because I want to give you the full story of what actually happened, but this decision has since been revoked. So here it is, a blog post from Modrinth called "Russia forced us to do this." And again it states here, this post has been preserved for archival reasons, but no longer reflects Modrinth's policy on compliance with government censorship. So good to keep that in mind. But here we have the full statement. Hi everyone, we want to be upfront about censorship on the Modrinth platform. Recently, the Russian government contacted us and required us to restrict LGBTQ+ projects for Russian users. If we didn't, they threatened to block Modrinth entirely in Russia. This is not a decision we believe in. It goes against our values and what we stand for as a community. But we were put in an impossible position. Either comply or cut off every single creator and player in Russia. That is not a fair choice. It doesn't make us feel any better about having to go through with it. And then they state, to be clear, Modrinth supports the LGBTQ+ community. We always have and we always will. If you're part of this community, know that we see you, we value you, and we're not going anywhere. Modrinth will always be a safe home for you, and we will keep actively supporting the LGBTQ+ community through our annual Pride campaign fundraiser. This sucks, and it hurts to be forced into this situation. But you deserve the truth and we want you to hear it directly from us. Certain LGBTQ content on Modrinth will now be restricted in Russia. This statement caused for a lot of backlash, essentially from everyone, because it meant that Modrinth was fully complying to government censorship, an active act to censor parts of the internet for Russian users. Also, even though Modrinth said that they wanted to be open and honest in that blog post, it didn't really feel that way because they didn't share a lot of details, which they did share later on. But by reading that blog post, all it really says is, yes, the Russian government contacted us, they wanted us to block some LGBTQ+ projects, and we did do that, so they are now no longer available for Russian users. Like mentioned, the backlash was immense. And you can see the aftermath of this on places like, for example, the Modrinth Discord, where a lot of community members were very angry at Modrinth for essentially complying with government censorship. Now, after all of this went down, about 24 hours after they made their initial decision to comply with the Russian censorship, Modrinth made a new blog post. And just to make sure you get the full picture, we're gonna read through the entire thing. It's called Standing by Our Values. And here they say, yesterday we were put in a position no community should ever have to face. The Russian government contacted us and demanded that 4 LGBTQ+ projects on Modrinth be removed immediately. By the way, quick side note, this is the first time they mentioned it actually involved 4 projects. First they said just certain LGBTQ+ projects. Now they're naming a specific amount. It was about 4. If we did not comply, the entire site would have been blocked for everyone in Russia. We had only that day to make a decision. The entire Modrinth team spent 5 hours together weighing the options collectively. None of them were good. So the 3 options which Modrinth had was either restrict all the content on Modrinth for over 1 million Russian users. Now you might be like, huh? Restricting all content? Yes, because if Modrinth would not comply with the Russian government, Russia would just block the whole platform altogether, taking access from every single Russian user. Then the second option, directly impact creators' livelihoods, either Russian creators themselves or those whose work is widely played by Russian users. And then the third option, comply with censorship requests that go directly against our values and beliefs. This is what Modrinth initially did before they made this post. Then they go on saying, money did not factor into our decision. It costs Modrinth hundreds of dollars a month in bandwidth cost alone to serve content to Russian users, while we do not make ad revenue from them. So here you can see that Modrinth over the entire course of September made a total of $4.40 from Russian users. In other words, the decision to comply with the censorship wasn't a decision they made because they were scared they were gonna lose a lot of revenue, because all of a sudden they would lose 1 million Russian users. That is not the case. They were not earning much money from those Russian users anyway. In the end, we told ourselves we were choosing the path of harm reduction. We believed that removing the 4 projects was less censorship than losing access to Modrinth entirely for Russian users. But that choice, made under pressure with little time, was short-sighted. It was not consistent with our values, our support of the LGBTQ+ community, or our stance against censorship. We want to be clear, the decision to comply, even briefly, was a mistake, and we are deeply sorry for it. In other words, their decision to comply with the censorship has since been revoked. Now again, we don't fully know what their reason was to reevaluate their decision. Maybe it just was the immense community backlash. So many people were so mad. It could also be that they actually felt threatened by big mod creators saying that they would potentially leave the platform. What we're doing now, we have decided to reverse that decision. The 4 projects in question will be fully restored for Russian users. Our values are not negotiable. Going forward, we will not comply with requests from any government body that go against them. Modrinth exists to make game modding open and accessible for all, and we stand by that mission. We know Modrinth will be blocked by the Russian government at some point, but we will do everything we can to prepare Russian users for it. They will be informed of the upcoming ban and will be provided guidance on how they can continue accessing the website. Then impact on creators. Modrinth being banned in Russia will not significantly impact overall creator revenue, as very little comes from those users. However, it may affect individual creators in different ways. For Russian creators, or anyone with a large audience in Russia, this ban could disturb your revenue and livelihood. This is painful and unfair. We are deeply sorry for this happening, and we will continue to do everything we can to support you. And then last but not least, our commitment. From the whole team, we're sorry. We let urgency and pressure steer us into a decision that did not reflect who we are and what we stand for. We want to be transparent about the mistake and take responsibility making it right. Our mission remains the same: to support creators, to keep modding accessible, and to provide a safe and welcoming place for everyone. Thank you for holding us accountable, thank you for trusting us to do better, and we hope you can continue to support us. If you are in danger or need resources, please consider reaching out to Rainbow Railroad, an organization dedicated to helping LGBTQ+ people escape oppression. Hearts from the Modrinth team. So yeah, that is That's pretty rough. Like I mentioned, this was not on my 2025 bingo list. Now, at the end of the day, what does this mean? What is gonna happen now? Well, Modrinth reversed their decision to block these certain LGBTQ projects on Modrinth for Russian users, which means that Modrinth is currently not complying with the Russian government, therefore the platform will most likely soon be blocked altogether in Russia. This means that all Russian users will, from that point forward, no longer have access to Modrinth. Of course, VPNs exist, so for those Russian users who want to continue accessing Modrinth, there certainly are ways to bypass this censorship, but it still really sucks to see that all of this is happening and going down. But yeah, do let me know in the comments down below what you think about all of this. It's definitely one of the most crazy stories I've ever covered here on the channel, actively involving a government body. But yeah, do let me know. Take it easy and stay safe, everyone. And with that being said, that's gonna be it for today. Do make sure to subscribe to my channel, join my Discord. Thank you so much, channel members. And then I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, see you later, bye bye.